Hello, we're here today to talk about Module A3, Manufacturing, part of our LCA series and LCA and EPDs. I'm here with Rebecca Eccles and Louisa Hodge, who head up our LCA team. And Rebecca's on camera. Louisa's over there. Believe me, she is here, but she's not on camera and won't be for this session. This follows on the A3 module, cleverly from the A2 module, so cleverly named. And after this, there is another A3 module. This module covers the manufacturing, energy use and emissions associated with that. The other A3 module that we'll be running later, a separate video, is on the manufacturing waste. They're both in A3. This one just covers the manufacturing component. Without further ado, Becca, A3 manufacturing, what is it?
So manufacturing, we want to include the energy usage and any fuel consumption that's associated with the manufacturing of your specific product.
Okay, so that seems quite straightforward, actually, quite straightforward. Designed to cover, I think you've already answered it really, but designed to cover the emissions factors associated with the manufacturing.
Yeah, so just the electricity, fuel, any other manufacturing processes that may be on site.
I think you might want to include, you said earlier before the interview, because we prepare, the LPG for forklift trucks and stuff like that as well. So it's basically electricity, gas, forklift fuel. One of my clients does use steam, so they consume steam. That's unusual, really, to be honest. Anything else weird and wonderful, Louisa? No? Don't really. So it's just electricity, gas, forklift fuel, so it'll be the common ones to think about here. All right. So in terms of this module, the A3, what data do we require?
So we need 12 months worth of data for your electricity, gas, any other fuels, and ideally we want to ratio this down to your specific product so we can work with you to work out which method is best to do that.
So it's along those of, if we use 100,000 kilowatt hours in total, you might say 10,000 for the office, 20,000 for product A, 30,000 for product B, that kind of thing, that kind of apportionment, yeah? Yeah, lovely. All right, okay. It sounds quite straightforward, and I think this is quite a straightforward module, so fingers crossed, eh? So when we talk about the data that we require for this, very broadly the energy data as we described, what's the accuracy, completeness, and data period that the data must cover?
So if we want an LCA to meet the requirements of an EPD, ideally we need to get 12 months worth of data. So we'll be looking at 12 months worth of your electricity consumption, gas consumption, any fuel consumption for forklifts, so on and so forth. And we'll just need to scale that down to your specific product.
Okay, and we're really talking about kilowatt hours, are we, for those sorters, yeah? And, you know, if you're out there trying to process this through and you need the data on all gas bills, it's probably measured in something like cubic feet or cubic meters or sometimes therms, BTUs, things like that. But there is normally a column in there showing the kilowatt hours. Just take that. That's probably a good sort of thing. And if you get any problems, give us a call. We'll help you through those conversions. It's quite straightforward, nothing to be worried about. Okay, let's have a demo if we can, please. Let's see how we put the data in, yeah?
Yes. So if there's this products tab on the left-hand side, click Product Advanced. We're going to reuse our 8-table example, which we've been going over in the previous videos. So here we have our table, and if I click into manufacturing, add a new manufacturing resource. So in this one, I'll just use electricity as an example. So if we're going for an EPD with the standard of 15804, then we want to go with electricity residual mix.
Which sounds a bit odd, but if you're doing 15804, just always choose residual, right? It's just easier. Just easier.
And we've got 156 results here. So I'll narrow it down using our location. So we know we're in the UK. And then we have 5 results here. So we've got the option between high, low, or medium voltage. Unless you know specifically for your type of electricity, we'll just go with medium voltage electricity residual mix. And then you'll just need to type the number of kilowatt hours you've used for that specific product. So say we're using 1,000 kilowatt hours in 12 months for our oat table. And then we just press submit. And it's as simple as that. So you'd want to do that for your gas, any forklift fuel, or anything else you may use on site.
Excellent. And so if you had another, for example, LPG, just click manufacturing resource again, and the row comes in down under there. Okay, quite straightforward, really. Quite straightforward. Okay, and that feeds back. Can you go back to the LCA table? Let's just see how that just appears on that LCA table. So if you remember before, the A3 had one of those exclamation marks, meaning it's not been filled in. Now it has been. So, there it is. Brilliant. Thanks for that. Best practices? I don't think there are many, are there?
There's not really any. It's just making sure you're choosing a representative data point for your country, I guess.
Yeah, I buy that. All right. Any gotchas? I suppose the big gotchas use the residual medium, unless you know otherwise, yeah?
Yeah, so depending on the PCR you'll be using, like again, this is if you're doing an EPD level LCA, the PCR will outline which electricity factor you should use.
Yeah, I just love that, by the way, all the acronyms. If you're doing an EPD for your LCA following the PCR, let me decode that. That means that if you want to publish this as an EPD, because LCAs don't have to be EPD, so you can do a life cycle assessment. Doesn't have to be an EPD. If it's an EPD, you have to follow an ISO standard, and the ISO standard's called product category rules. And there's other videos on those. So you just if you click the link, assuming my collaborators can put the link in there, you can have a look at the product category rules, and I go into more detail about what they are. Okay, and so in summary?
This is a super easy module. It's just your energy and fuel at your manufacturer's site.
Simple as that. Okay, lovely. Well, look, thank you very much, Becca. Thanks, Louisa, behind the scenes. Sort of tucked off to one side. So I hope you found that useful. If you get any questions, do let us know. As I say, this is part of the LCA series. There are, looking at the screen, there's about 15 to 20 videos in this series taking you through each step of producing a high quality life cycle assessment. Okay, get any problems, give us a call, get in contact, drop a comment, whatever it's going to be, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio from me.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
There was a voice in the background. Bye. Thank you. Bye.